Today we're talking about a TikTok creator known as Lexity. They also go by Anastasia or Enyathenia, and I probably butchered that. At first, she seems like a comfort creator that is vocal about mental health, identity, and self-expression.
Good afternoon, Sunflower. I think a lot of people don't know how to apologize. And if you're thinking right now, oh, it's easy, you just say sorry, then you're exactly who I'm talking to. Hey, Sweet Pea. So no means no, all of the time. Even if I'm laughing, even if you think my body language means that I'm enjoying whatever you're doing, you should listen to my words, actually.
But as the way stories usually go on this channel, it's a lot deeper than that. Because over time, this person was in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, like saying their dog could consent to drinking alcohol, as well as allegations of SA.
Use the fact that I'm successful by f***ing manipulating me. Are you f***ing kidding me? I asked. And you know what? Yeah, I am angry. You would be angry if someone had f***ing accused you of sexual too.
And assault of a pregnant woman. This is a deep dive into Lexity, one of the internet's biggest contradictions. Anastasia Alexandra Athena Lenin is a 26-year-old known as Lexity. She's one of the most unconventional content creators you can ever come across. Let's go through her digital footprint. Her main TikTok account has an average following of 140K. Her bio basically issues a warning, only the unwelcoming are unwelcome here. And she has pretty much every social media account you can think of, with her Instagram bio saying, always remember to look for the complexity. Trust me, that'll make a lot more sense as we continue. She's also a lover of music, poetry, and spoken words, where she has a SoundCloud with a few of her beats. And people seem to genuinely like her music, saying, just followed you on Instagram to see that you also made music. It's quite beautiful. Motivates me to continue to do the same. Thank you for being you for real. And Lexity's identity has continuously evolved over time. She's identified as transgender, gender fluid, and most recently omnigender.
Hey, Sweet Pea. So I identify as omnigender, and a lot of times people ask me what that means and how it's different from gender fluid. And I would say, honestly, it's a kind of gender fluid in that my gender identity and the gender expression I wish to have changes over time. But the main difference, or at least the main added feature as opposed to just straight gender fluidness, is that I always feel like a woman, and sometimes I'm also a man. Like, if you're gendering me female and using like feminine honorifics like queen or whatever, to me, it's always comfortable and euphoric, but I'm only sometimes comfortable with the masculine ones, like king or prince. They don't really tend to make me uncomfortable unless I feel like you're saying that I'm not a woman, but sometimes they don't make me euphoric, just because, like, I don't know, sometimes I'm not a man. I'm always a woman, though. And, like, that's the main difference, is omnigender is, like, this and this, whereas gender fluid is this or this. I don't know. You know?
Her rise to fame started on TikTok in 2024 as a comfort creator who would always address her fans as, hey, Sweet Pea.
Hey, Sweet Pea. Did you know that the Great Pyramids of Giza weren't built by slave labor? Hey, Sweet Pea. Now I'd wager it's a pretty safe bet to say that most, if not all, of the flames you've seen in your entire life have been yellow, orange, or blue, violet. Hey, Sweet Pea. Humans are deeply social animals.
She regularly posted videos discussing mental health disorders, particularly borderline personality disorders such as ADHD and alcohol addiction struggles. She also posted fun fact videos to the most random and weirdest facts. And interestingly enough, she beatboxes. She also plays different instruments such as guitar, flute, keyboard.
I am stuck in the abyss. I just don't know what to do.
But I think the most impressive instrument she plays is the flute, and specifically how she plays it. One of her most viral TikTok moments came from a video about a bug and a rock.
What's the proper etiquette when you pick up a rock and there's a cool bug underneath and you want to put the rock back? Do you put the rock back on top of the bug? Because I feel like I might squish the bug, but if I put the rock back next to the bug, I feel like I've ruined the bug's little hideaway. I don't know. I just want to be polite to bugs. I love them, you know? They're cute.
And in another video, she explains that you, yes you, eat bugs all the time.
Hey, Sweet Pea, did you know you eat bugs all the time? At least, like, probably. There's this insect called the shellac beetle, and we use its shell to coat things in a nice, clear, shiny layer. You dissolve it in alcohol and then layer it on there one after the other. And eventually you have a nice, clear, smooth, shiny layer. It's used on pianos and lots of woodworking and candies, because it's not sticky like sugar usually is.
He would say, I honestly never understood why people find bugs gross. I used to think that earning basically nothing on my savings was normal and that those annoying bank fees were part of life. Well, it turns out I was leaving money on the table and I didn't even realize it. And that's why I switched to Chime, America's #1 choice for banking. And once I saw what it actually offered, I couldn't go back. Let's start with the Chime Card. You get 5% cash back in a category of your choice: groceries, gas, dining, travel. You pick what fits in your life and you can change it every month. Just think about what you're already spending money on. At 5% back, that's money returning to your pocket from purchases you were going to make anyway. Plus, you get premium travel perks, airport lounge access, and 24/7 travel concierge included with the card. Then there's the high yield savings account, earning 3.75% APY. That's 9 times the national average, and the automation makes it effortless. Turn on roundups and every purchase gets rounded to the nearest dollar. That $4.67 coffee, 33 cents straight to savings without thinking about it. You can also automate a percentage of every paycheck directly into the savings. Set it once and your money is growing while you sleep. Oh, and you can get your paycheck 2 days early with direct deposit. That's no monthly fees, no overdraft fees, just your money working harder for you. And right now, when you sign up for Chime Checking Account through my link and set up qualifying direct deposits, you grab $75 as a bonus. I use Chime and honestly, you should too. Head to chime.com/Chaz. That's chime.com/Chaz. Scan the QR code on screen. It only takes a few minutes and the link is in the description. Now let's get back to the video. As her platform grew, her content began to shift because what started as a personal experience slowly turned into something entirely different. She changed her online persona to someone whose content moved away from that of a comfort creator to a more suggestive content aimed at the vulnerable, especially the LGBTQ audience.
Hey, sweetheart, let me explain something to you. People absolutely need to engage in their desires in order to feel satisfied. That's why homosexual people can't just repress their homosexuality and pretend to be straight. If people didn't need sex, that wouldn't be an issue. You could just be in a straight relationship that didn't have any sex and you would be fine because you don't need sex, according to you. You do need though. That's why homosexual people cannot feel satisfied in straight relationships, because they need sex. You can be best friends with someone who is a different gender as a homosexual person, but you can't be attracted to them as a homosexual. And that's the problem.
I think a more precise statement to this is that people need to live authentically according to their orientation, which doesn't require sex specifically. There's celibate gay people that exist and they don't suffer the same way as a closet gay person would. So it all comes more from suppressing your homosexuality rather than just not having sex. And weirdly enough, a lot of the issues in this video are about SA, where she's saying you need to have to do this thing. She seems to be very assertive when it comes to meeting new people about having to do this thing. But we'll get more into that a little later in the video. By mid-2024, she rebranded and started giving out advice about relationships and how to respect boundaries. She went as far as making a series about it. Her first video was about her basically teaching people in relationships how to apologize.
Good afternoon, Sunflower. I think a lot of people don't know how to apologize. And if you're thinking right now, oh, it's easy, you just say sorry, then you're exactly who I'm talking to. You don't just say sorry. You have to acknowledge what you did and why it was wrong. You have to acknowledge how it made the other person feel. And you have to promise to do better in the future, or fix your mistake if possible. It's 3 steps.
In another video, she educates people on how to spot red flags. It's like she's a self-acclaimed guru. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hey, sweet pea. I'd like to share some red flags with you that I really think you should avoid in romantic relationships. If someone puts arbitrary rules and guidelines around how they're allowed to show their affection and intimacy to you, like when they're allowed to use certain words to describe you, or how often they're allowed to praise you, or when they're allowed to use certain labels to describe the relationship that they are in, you don't want to be with that person. You want somebody who responds to your needs and their needs and ignores some third party that they've imagined to exist that they call society. That doesn't matter. That shouldn't be a part of your relationship. You should be dealing with your relationship, not society. You also don't want somebody who you have to convince that they want you. You want somebody who wants you without you doing anything to convince them of that. They just want you. That's what you want. I promise you. You deserve to feel wanted, and you don't want to try and seduce someone. That's not going to work. It never works. It's never stable. You don't want somebody who apologizes for something and then immediately does the thing that they just apologized for. They clearly don't understand what an apology is, or if they do, they're lying about it when they talk to you.
And this kind of advice sounds empowering, but if you actually followed it, you'd probably end up pushing away a normal, healthy relationship. They say that you should ignore society completely in your relationship, but that's just not realistic. That's because culture and family and your environment, all of this does affect your relationship. Pretending they don't exist doesn't make you healthy, it just disconnects you from reality. And the idea that you don't have to convince somebody, that's not necessarily true, because relationships aren't simple. Sometimes it takes people to open up and sometimes they're unsure. That doesn't mean that they don't want you. And there are real red flags in relationships, such as control, inconsistency, or lack of effort. But when you turn those into blanket rules, such as any structure is bad or you shouldn't have to work for a connection, you're not helping people, you're oversimplifying the complexity, which is ironic because she reminds her viewers to always look for the complexity. And then she released this video about unsolicited apologies.
Also, an unsolicited apology means about 1,000,000 times more than an apology someone has to ask for. So if you really want to make amends, you should make the first move and take responsibility. Hope that helps.
Yeah, sometimes, but context does matter. For example, sometimes the other person might need space, or initiating first could escalate things further. And to cap the series, she makes a video talking about how anger equals sadness.
Sweet pea. So all emotions are actually equally valid, and that includes anger, actually. It's not like the one exception to the all emotions are valid rule. It's not any more or less abusive than any of the other emotions, like sadness. You can manipulate someone by crying at them or just being really, really sad and self-destructive around them, just like you can by screaming at them. And why would one of these things be more inherently abusive than the other one? I mean, as long as you're not actually resorting to physical violence.
So here she's trying to normalize emotions, but in the process, she has blurred the line between feeling something and expressing it, which is really ironic because she expresses anger a lot, and you'll see that. You can tell later on in the video that she definitely feels justified for being angry and yelling. It's true that these feelings are valid, but it's what you do with these feelings that matter. And it's funny because saying something isn't abusive as long as it's not physical is a huge red flag. People would say, I needed this today, I got dumped, basically because someone was finally honest with me. It's 2 a.m. and your face and voice has silenced my cries. Strangers/family overstimulated me and I fell apart and couldn't stop. I think I can sleep now. Thank you. On September 26, 2024, the real drama surrounding Lexity started. It all began when she had issues with her mother, which eventually led to her getting kicked out of the house. Apparently, her mother had been away for 3 to 5 months and Lexity's mom returned to the house being a complete mess.
Maybe didn't clean as much as I should have. Just to be clear, she was gone for like 4 or 5 months and came back entitled with a vengeance, like this is my fucking house and if you dare exist in it, I'ma fucking be a bitch about it.
And you'll notice there is somewhat of a victim mentality about how this story is being told.
My mother broke into my room to yell at me at 10 in the morning before I had woken up. And I'm a 25-year-old. I'm active. There was a person in my bed at the time, and yet she still broke into my room to yell at me. So I was, needless to say, very, very upset, and I screamed at her to get out of my room.
And if the house is the mom's house, I don't think she could break into somebody's room. It's her house. She can go into any room she wants to. She owns the house. And I also don't think it's right for her to be yelling at her mom like that. At the age of 25, she's letting you live in her house. You should go out and get your own place if you don't like how her rules are.
And I screamed at her until she got out of my room. She then immediately called the cops and said that I made her fear for her life, which is ridiculous, frankly. Unless you need to be in my room to live, I don't think I made you fear for your life. And frankly, if you break into my space, I don't feel bad about making you fear for your life. Do you know what happens when you corner an animal? Any animal. Yeah, I don't feel bad about protecting myself.
Well, in all of this, according to Lexity, she made it seem like she was defending herself, protecting her space. This was self-defense, according to her. And so eventually Lexity was kicked out of the house, and instead of taking responsibility for not cleaning the house, Lexity claimed that her mom had OCD. So a little mess can be too much of a mess to her.
Hey, Sweet Pea, I have a complicated relationship with my mother. I used to live with her, or I did up until today, but today she kicked me out because the house was too messy for her, and she has OCD that she's been ignoring for years, so any amount of messy is too messy for her. Any history of people living there within recent memory is too messy for her. And I, live in the house.
But Lexity would later claim that the reason why she didn't clean the house is because she lost her dog.
Not to mention, we were a little sad about our dog dying, so I got a little depressed and maybe didn't clean as much as I should have.
And so it's hard to not notice that she's given a lot of reasons as to why she couldn't do these said things, but no responsibility taken for anything at all. And after Lexity was kicked out, her mother filed a restraining order against her, claiming that she threatened her life. But in a turn of events 21 days later during the court hearing, her mother dismissed the case and claimed that she was scared of her room.
At the court date that was scheduled 21 days after I was first served the restraining order, she basically just told the judge that she wasn't afraid of me, right? She was afraid of the room, but that doesn't make any sense because I'm not a room and you can't file a restraining order against a room. The judge kind of was just like, well then, huh? And dismissed it outright.
Her comment section would show mixed feelings. Most people felt pity for her, saying, "Is there anything we can do to help you? Do you need funds? I'm so sorry. I hope you're in a safe place and are happy." But some people would question this, saying, "I'd frankly like to hear her side of this." After leaving her mom's house, Lexity would move into a trailer with her partner. And this is where the dog situation began. She would claim that a neighbor's dog kept coming over and staying around her, which she interpreted as the dog choosing her over its owners.
Hey, sweet pea. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do if a dog keeps choosing to come over here rather than be at its owners, because this dog, this big guy right here, he really seems to love it here. Now, I can try and get him back to the neighbor's house where he comes from, but he certainly doesn't like going there. Seems a bit skinny, although he responds better to praise than food, which is, well, I don't know. Makes me like him, but is worrisome. If the owners come over here and try and take him back, well, he doesn't want to go with them. He seems to really dislike them, which I don't like. And I'm not trying to steal anyone's dog, nor am I trying to start problems with my neighbors. But I love this little guy, and I would not like to see him hurt, and he seems to like it. What do you think?
And notice how it shifts from the dog just simply visiting her and choosing her to the dog being mistreated, positioning herself as someone trying to save it. When she was told that the dog might be available for adoption, she would name it Apollo, buy supplies, and mentally began to see the dog as her own.
They stole that from me. I went to the store after they said that this dog was gonna be rehomed and got my hopes up, freaking picked out a name to get shit for the dog, supplies, Came back, dog was nowhere to be seen. They wouldn't let me have the dog back.
However, the situation quickly changed when the landlord said that she couldn't have the dog. And Lexity would give different explanations for this, saying that the owners were dangerous, and another saying that the landlord refused due to plumbing issues. What remained consistent was that the dog was taken away and rehomed. When she came back home that evening, she found out the dog had been rehomed, and she became very angry. So much so, she got into an argument with her partner.
I fucking spent all night fighting with my partner because they wouldn't let me be mad at the landlord even. They wouldn't even let me be mad about not being allowed to have my fucking dog, right? So, I spent all night fucking working with that, and eventually I stopped fighting with that and went to sleep, and then I woke up and I was really mad about not having my goddamn dog!
And things got even worse because Lexity was eventually kicked out of the home by the landlord.
And that's why I got kicked out! Because I screamed like this about wanting my dog back. You know what? And I'm not f***ing sorry. I want my goddamn dog!
Thankfully, her ex-partner, Casey, gave detailed information of what happened with the dog on November 4th of 2024. According to her, they were ready to adopt the dog, but the landlord refused to allow the dog on the property because he didn't want any issues with their neighbors.
We didn't communicate to Geo that we were for sure going to take the dog that day. We got back. I went to my landlord. I said, "Hey, Anya's living here now. I wanted to let you know." He said, "Okay, cool. I heard you had an interaction with the dog." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm bringing the dog to a shelter." And I said, "Okay." Anya wanted to take him in. He said, "Not allowed. The neighbor is crazy, and I don't want the dog here because I don't want to cause issues." I said, "Okay, that makes sense. The guy seems like a dick."
Casey immediately told Lexity, and Lexity got upset, and what happened next was really shocking.
Yeah, I didn't know how the dog was being rehomed. I woke up at 4 a.m. to her screaming at me, telling me I needed to fix the problem, that we needed to be homeless for this dog after... And how were we going to be homeless? I've been homeless. I didn't want to do it again. I didn't want to lose my safety and security, and we were living in a trailer that has no windows. Like, we can't leave the trailer in the woods. What are we gonna do? So I told her, no, I don't want to do that. You need to leave because you're screaming at me. And that's what happened. And the dog got rehomed to a really nice family. If anyone has claim over the dog, it's the other person at our property that actually spent more time with the dog. That dog was more often at his door.
So I just find it interesting that Lexity's version and Casey's version are completely different. Lexity made it seem like there was injustice done here and she was done wrong, while Casey was setting boundaries. And keep in mind, this is the second time she is homeless in a short time. And this story doesn't end there, because she would return to the trailer on November 19th, but her stay was short-lived. In her next video, she was back making videos from her car, complaining that her dog was stolen.
Like, Apollo was important to me. You stole my goddamn dog. And if you wouldn't be this upset about someone stealing your dog, you don't fucking love your dog. And if you can't listen to someone because of the way they say something, you're a bad person who just wants to do whatever the fuck you want. Because someone's tone can always be slightly wrong. How about you have a...
And there is no actual formal documentation except for Lexity just saying that because she fed the dog and bought it some stuff, that it was hers. And to show you how much of a sore loser she was about this, she later made a video talking about her exes, saying that her exes are always trying to put the blame on someone instead of examining what they did to cause their problems.
Hey sweet pea, so one of the hardest parts of letting go of my ex is that I know that they're gonna build up this story in their head about how terrible of a person I am and how I was the cause of all the problems in our relationship. And I don't know, when I spent so much time and effort trying to help them grow, and I really do think that their main problem is that they never examine how they're the cause of the problems in their life. You know, they always put it on something or someone else instead of examining what they did to cause their problems.
People were still dealing with these controversies when another disturbing video appeared online. And heads up, if you're a dog lover, you're not gonna like this.
Hey sweet pea, so dogs are opportunistic omnivores, which means they eat pretty much any food they can get their hands on, including rotting fruit, and alcohol is naturally occurring in rotting fruit, which means dogs definitely are exposed to alcohol in the wild on a regular basis. They absolutely can consent to drinking alcohol, and a lot of dogs even very much like alcohol. If they go out and find rotting fruit and eat that because they enjoy alcohol, that's them consenting to drinking alcohol. And if you spill an alcoholic beverage and a dog laps up that alcoholic beverage, regardless of if humans are trying to get that dog to do that, and even perhaps in spite of humans trying to stop that dog from drinking that beer that you've spilled, that dog is consenting to drinking alcohol. Because yes, dogs can consent to drinking alcohol. Is alcohol bad for dogs? Yes, absolutely. It's also bad for humans and pretty much every other animal. That doesn't mean that dogs are incapable of choosing to drink alcohol. A lot of them actually quite like it and will seek it out on purpose. Does that mean you should give your dog alcohol? Not if you care about your dog and want it to be healthy, but you also shouldn't give yourself alcohol if you care about yourself and want you to be healthy. Yes? Yes. And no, dogs can't consent when humans are involved because there's inherently a power dynamic between dogs and humans that makes a human giving a dog something coercive. But dogs can consent to making dangerous choices when humans aren't there, and they do regularly. And if you have a problem with that, that's because you're infantilizing dogs. They are animals, adult animals that can make choices. You silly, silly bastard.
And of course, people in her comment sections were not having this, with one person saying, "So hilarious how she speaks so eloquently about the most appalling crap you've ever heard. It makes it sound like we are stupid for thinking she's wrong." Yes, it's true, dogs eat anything they can find, but that means you need to be especially wary about what you leave around the house. The way she twists reality in her favor is impressive. Implying that an adult dog has the same amount of brain activity as an adult human is crazy. First of all, consent would imply who's ever consenting understands to be able to consent. Do you think a dog understands using alcohol or consent? Comparing distilled man-made alcohol with the weak butt crap that ferments in the fruit is like saying, well, you didn't die when I shot you with this pellet gun, so let's try this 4G shotgun intended for elephants. And let's actually get some professional insight. On Pet MD, can dogs drink beer? Alcohol poisoning in dogs. Dogs should never consume beer or any type of alcohol. Even small amounts can lead to serious poisoning. But I'd also like to hear from you. Do you agree with Lexity's point of of you? Let me know in the comments. On December 18th, 2024, Lexity started posting videos claiming that she was homeless and living out of her Jetta. She went ahead and launched a GoFundMe in order to purchase a van.
Hey, sweet pea. So I'm homeless right now. I'm living out of a Jetta, which is like a tiny car, so it's not exactly super comfortable because I have to figure out where I'm going to sleep every night, which is very stressful and doesn't leave me a lot of free time to do anything else, like make content. So if you'd like to help me make content, I'm trying to afford a van, and you could go over to a GoFundMe I've started and give me a couple dollars so that I could afford a van more easily. I've set the GoFundMe at $15,000, which is a lot of money, but there's a lot of people following me now, so maybe that's not too big of a dream, and I want to apologize for dreaming big. Regardless of if you can't give or don't want to give, I love you still, okay? I'm happy you're here. Have a great one.
And surprisingly enough, people actually donated. In fact, somebody donated almost $11,000 on Christmas Eve. But I bet you'll never guess what happened when she actually reached the goal of $15,000. She raised it to $30,000. Should we say so? Everyone has been more generous than I possibly imagined. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. I did increase the goal. I hope that doesn't make me seem entitled. What you all have already done for me means more than I could express. Thank you for helping me find my freedom. I've looked for a long time. So she would actually raise over $30,000. And keep in mind, she also has a wish list for the needs of her van, and you'll be surprised when you see this list. And I had to blur a lot of that because, well, she needed inappropriate toys for her van, inappropriate toys that she would use in interactions. And let me tell you, some of these are pretty crazy, but she eventually removed the toys after she was criticized. Let's get to the part where it gets much worse. On January 2nd, 2025, Lexity posted a video on Instagram saying that she desperately needed a hug.
Sometimes when people ask you to hang out, it's because they need someone, and I have been alone for so goddamn long. Everybody just stares at me, and most people don't like me because I'm trans and punk, and nobody fucking wants to be around me. I need someone in my life who will just spend 10 minutes to give me a hug. Ever! God damn. I am so, I can't do this.
The caption would read, if you are in Southern Oregon and will give me a hug right now, hit me up. I will drive to you. I feel effing cursed. Somebody please show up for me. And somebody would respond to this. Somebody named Marcella. In fact, Lexity would drive all the way to meet Marcella, to which they would both have dinner, and Lexity would ask her if she was attracted to her.
The night that we met, we went to get sushi, which is so funny, Marcy, that you guys got sushi too. But she, I was like just looking at her and talking to her, and she goes, "You're attracted to me, aren't you?" And I said, "How could you tell?" And she was like, "Because you're flirting with me."
That same day, Marcella invited Lexity over for a short stay, but that short stay would last 4 days. And would you guess it, on the 4th day, Lexity's exit was because of a disagreement. Marcella would explain what happened in a video that she posted on YouTube on January 7th, 2025. And keep in mind that Lexity gave Marcella permission to post this. Marcella explained that she was scared that they were becoming attached too quickly.
I told them that my fear was that we became anxiously attached to each other.
And instead of understanding where she was coming from, Lexity, who also identifies as an alcoholic, took it the wrong way and became very angry.
And they were drinking alcohol, which frightened me when I learned that they would be drinking that night, because they had warned me that they were an alcoholic. So I was already a little bit worried, and they blew up.
And again, Lexity is meeting somebody in a short time and freaking out about losing them, just like she did with the dog. Marcella even apologized for what she said to Lexity, but Lexity kept screaming and stomping around.
To the point where they were screaming in my face, like screaming across the room, screaming in my face, stomping around, stumbling around, because they were so drunk.
Lexity would later come online to dismiss Marcella's claims, saying that she never abused her. And in response to this, Marcella made another video in more detail.
The yelling went on for what felt like a couple hours. That timeline could be a little bit skewed, but it was so loud and went on for so long that at one point my ears were ringing. And of course, as I mentioned before, I was dissociating, so there was a lot of stuff that was said that I don't even remember.
And here's the text message between the two of them where Lexity gave permission, saying, "You are always welcome to tell anyone and everyone about any of my behavior, especially the abuse stuff. I want you to be able to get support when I F up." Marcella also claimed that Lexity called her a WHOR, attempted to spit at her, and stomped on some of her things.
At one point, she called me a whore. I don't know why. At one point, she made the motion of like spitting in my direction, as if I was, you know, she looked at me as if I was worth nothing. And she was stomping around my room. She knocked my shit over. She knocked over a large picture and my air purifier because she was like so drunk that she was stumbling around. I wanted to speak on that because downgrading my experience to, "Oh, you just got yelled at, that's not abuse," is so... it makes me so angry.
After Marcella came out, another victim named Marcy came out to share her experience with Lexity.
Hi, I'm Marcy. I'm here to talk about the situation that I encountered with Anastasia/Lexity today.
According to her, they met at a local bar, exchanged numbers, and started texting. During that period, Marcy opened up to Lexity about her relationship struggles, hoping to get some advice from Lexity.
I did discuss some things about what I was going through in my relationship with her, looking for support, looking for advice.
Now this is where it gets interesting. They eventually planned a hangout, and Lexity picks up Marcy in her van, and you'll never believe the first question that she asked Marcy.
We plan the hangout. I get picked up by her in her van, and the first thing I'm asked is, you know, "Are you in an open relationship?" To which I say, "No, I am not. I am in a monogamous relationship. We can totally talk about it. You know, just we're meeting each other for the first time. So, you know, we'll get there. Like, you'll learn who I am. I'll learn who you are."
I feel like for a first question that's pretty fast, why not just ask, you know, like, "How are you doing? You know, welcome. Nice to see you again." And then, you know, kind of lead into that. Don't be so eager. And it gets even crazier because Lexity wasn't happy with that response. And as they were driving to dinner, she was pressuring Marcy to leave her relationship.
Anastasia was pressuring me to, you know, understand that I deserved better and I needed to leave my relationship, and somebody like her could treat me so much better, and that, you know, I'm obviously a submissive woman that needs a dominant mommy to take care of her, which I do not. I'm not asking for that.
And after doing all of this, she still attempted to kiss Marcy after dinner and even tried to grope her breast.
Anastasia was trying to kiss me. I was kind of trying to pull away and just not give in to that. And then next thing I know, Anastasia is groping my breast. And she does this twice. And I froze because I didn't know what the fuck to do. And then she starts getting into like why nobody wants her as a partner and why everyone else she encounters can find a partner for themselves, but she never can. And then it kind of got weird where she was kind of directing it towards me, and she was like, you know, "Why can't I be good enough for you? What, like, I'm right here. Like, why can't I just provide for you and love you and care for you in the way that you need?"
And honestly, this is crazy and confusing to me because all of this just came from Marcy wanting a little bit of advice, some support. But it didn't stop there because Marcy noticed that they were driving on the freeway toward California without any clear plan. She had no idea where they were going and she wanted to go home.
So we're going home. She's driving to drop me off, and she's kind of like making me feel weird about it. She is like, basically cold shouldering me, it felt like, where it was like she was, I can't assume what she was doing. I can only say what I did. But she was like, what's wrong, blah, 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 blah. We would get back to where I'm getting dropped off. And Anastasia is upset that I'm going back to my boyfriend's house and not staying with her. And she tells me, basically, like, I just can't believe you're going with him and not with me. And I was like, and I started crying in front of her. And I was like, hey, dude, I just needed a friend tonight. I'm going through my own things as well, and I'm very sorry if I put any of those onto you that made you feel like I need that much saving, because I don't. But I appreciate you, and I understand where you're coming from.
It's almost as if Lexity has a habit of finding people in a vulnerable position. She pounces on someone whenever she sees that they're in a position that she could possibly exploit. People had this to say in the comments, saying fawning is a protective response to a threat, the same way fight or flight is. You were being nice and shy and submissive because you felt it was the best way to keep yourself safe in a situation where someone was not only disrespecting your boundaries, but had also put her hands on you and had you in her vehicle with no way to get back home. You were just trying to stop the situation from escalating. I'm so sorry you went through this, but please try to remind yourself that you didn't do anything wrong and none of this was your fault. You made it clear you didn't want a sexual relationship with her. Then she groped your breast twice. That is, and I'm sorry that happened to you. The biggest of red flags, encouraging someone to leave a relationship, not because it's dangerous or bad for their health, but because it would be so much better with me. Big ick. Hope you have some peace and healing in the new year. Yep, that seals the deal for me. She is an egotistical narcissistic dealing with manic symptoms and has crossed too many boundaries. This is disgusting. Wishing you the best. And just in case you need some more proof that they actually met, here's some text messages between them, with her saying, can I take you out to dinner tonight? And then a picture of them together. And interestingly enough, Lexity actually came online and said that she did grab her breast.
She said last night that she's super into me online. Are you kidding me? I fucking did grab her boob, but also like she grabbed a lot of parts of me, and like that was I asked if that was okay. That was consensual.
Things get much worse when you listen to what she had to say on her TikTok live.
And what, girl? And also, what am I like? Okay, like, be specific. If you're gonna accuse me of anything, like, literally be specific, because what that girl said I did was go on a date with her and then ask her if I could hug her and then hug her. She grabbed my butt. I grabbed her boob. I genuinely was okay, even though she later regretted it. But like, that's not the way that works. I asked. I genuinely tried as hard as possible to make her comfortable. And the reality is like, she invited me to a park. Like, she invited me on a date to a restaurant, and then we went after that. I was like, hey, what do you want to do? And she was like, I want to walk through a park in the middle of the night at like 12 o'clock at night.
But that's not true, because remember the text message I showed you? Where she literally initiated the date asking, can I take you out to dinner tonight? Maybe grab some food or something. And after all of that, Lexity ends the live stream by saying that these are just rumors.
Man, we're done talking about this anyways. Yeah, no, I mean, like, the reality is like, I know what the truth is, and there's no legal, like anything against me. There's no real anything against me. There's literally just fucking rumors, right? Rumors that if you pay any attention to, they fucking disappear like smoke, because there's actually nothing. I didn't do anything. Okay? So we're gonna ignore that, because why the fuck would I pay attention to that?
This wasn't the end of it though for Lexity, because she would crash out again on a different live stream.
She can take me to court if she thinks it's true. Take me to court, Marcy. You know what? Because like, Jesus Christ, if I groped you, if I didn't consent and I tried to convince you to fucking leave your partner, apparently I'm a fucking terrible person. Take me to fucking court, you lying. Take me to fucking court. Do it. Fucking call the cops, because I know I will win and you will fucking get arrested for false allegations, because that is not fucking true. And I have no fucking idea why my fucking friends would use me like this, but apparently they want to. Just fucking use the fact that I'm successful by fucking manipulating me. Are you fucking kidding me? I asked. God damn it. And you know what? Yeah, I am angry. You would be angry if someone had fucking accused you of sexual too. Okay? You would be too. Especially if you fuck you. This is not helping at all? I don't care.
What happened? I went on a date.
I'm definitely more inclined to not believe somebody that is easily set off like this, which to me shows that they don't have self-control, and so they might be able to do these things that she's being blamed for.
And she hugged me and she grabbed my butt and I
grabbed her butt, and I grabbed her side too, and I asked her if it was okay that I was doing that, and she said yes, and then apparently she decided that she regrets that because she did have a boyfriend who she spent the entire night trashing on and telling me how he sucked, and she didn't feel like he was spiritual enough for her, and how she was just doing her own thing, and I suggested that maybe if she was just gonna do her own thing, which was the thing she said all night, then she shouldn't be with anyone, including her partner. I was not trying to get her to leave her partner for me. I said she was way spiritual for me. She was. I didn't want to be in a relationship with her. You know what? But I didn't think she wanted to be in a relationship with her partner, and as a friend, I gave her that fucking advice.
She would also claim that Marcy had BPD and is abusive.
You know Marcy personally? Marcy personally? Good. Marcy just got kicked out of a house that they won't let her back because she is crazy. She has fucking BPD and she is fucking abusive. She is abusive. Hey? Yeah, she's my friend, but she's abusive.
Yeah, I don't think she's your friend. She's accusing you of SA, so I think it's the opposite here. And it feels like Lexity is indirectly admitting to everything that Marcy has said here. And if Lexity wasn't interested in Marcy, then why did she grope her? And as if that wasn't enough, another creator named Haley came out and shared their experience with Lexity, and this is gonna definitely create a bigger picture for you.
Essentially, I met Anastasia on her stream. She ended up following me on Instagram. She told me that we could hang out. I told her I would teach her to skin an animal and some of the taxidermy process. And everything seemed fine. She told me it would take 2 weeks for her to get to me to visit. She showed up in 2 days, which really, really made me nervous. I had already had plans that day to hang out with some other friends as well.
Imagine you're planning to meet with somebody and they say, I'll be there in 2 weeks. And then 2 days later, they just show up at your house and you already have plans that day. And it's like, what? You said it was going to take 2 weeks. Did you just teleport here or drive 100 miles an hour for the whole 2 days?
That day to hang out with some other friends as well. It's still, I'm getting fucking nervous talking about it. It made me really nervous. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I did start drinking immediately when she told me that. It's my fault, not her fault that I started drinking. And I could tell she was getting upset. She sent me a bunch of messages. She's like, how am I supposed to get in? If you're not going to let me in, how am I supposed to see you? Are you going to let me in or am I leaving? Am I leaving town? And I'm like, no, I'm like, come on, I'm going to try to help you find the place. I'm sorry. We go inside. At this point, I am pretty much blacked out entirely. That's where the night ends for me, unfortunately. Yeah, so essentially the photo that was taken, my girlfriend Sky took that photo, and I am completely blacked out drunk. I didn't even know the photo was taken until about a week, 5 days after.
And this is the photo that she is mentioning here where she was blackout drunk. And this is where it gets really disturbing because eventually Haley woke up and found her in a nasty situation with Lexity.
So fast forward, I wake up on the couch and Anastasia has her head on my lap. And she's sniffing my crotch. I hear her sniffing my crotch. Her head is on my lap and her hand is on my crotch, sort of moving around a little bit. And I'm what is happening? Because the last thing I remember was her getting here and I was just showing her the stuff on my makeup desk. So I get up to go smoke some weed and she gets behind me and she's caressing my back. She's like, you have such soft, smooth skin, you're giving me such mixed signals, baby, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know, I have a girlfriend. And it just goes back and forth for a while. She goes this to kiss me, and I go back like this because I don't know that we've already apparently kissed before when I was blackout drunk. And this is where the van comment comes in, where I make a stupid joke about how I stole your van even though I'm right next to her the whole time. And she insults me to my face. I already wrote about that on Reddit. I really don't feel like talking about it again.
And we're going to go over that Reddit post shortly, but let's continue with this video where Haley eventually started crying. Lexity made her feel bad, and so she started to try to show support. And unsurprisingly, she asked for another nasty request.
And shaking, and I ended up saying that I really want to hug my mother and my father because I'm originally from North Carolina and I moved here when I was 18. I just turned 26. And when I said that, she wrapped her arms around me and she said, yeah, I'm mommy and daddy. And I'm like, no, I'm talking about like my parents. I want to hug my parents. She also asked my partner if we could all have a threesome.
It's crazy to me that Lexity is doing all of this with someone that she literally just met. And she has a pattern and continues to keep doing this. It's like, for somebody that's giving all of this advice, why don't you take some of your own advice? Or maybe learn some better advice. I mean, Lexity even went as far as telling Haley that she wanted to get her name tattooed.
Marcy was also love bombing me when I woke up and she was on my lap. She was saying that she was in love with me, that she loves me, that I'm everything she's ever wanted. She told me last time I talked to her that she wanted me to personally tattoo my first name on the back of her calf. And I do think that she was getting upset that I was rejecting her advances when I was sober again and in my right mind and not blackout drunk.
Haley would say that she was rejecting all of Lexity's advances, and this did not make Lexity happy. In fact, it made her angry and she started screaming.
Anytime I would have a disagreement with Anastasia, she would completely disregard everything I was saying to her. She would look at me and she would scream, "Stop bratting. You're bratting right now, stop bratting." Even though I've told her multiple times that I'm not a submissive. When I told her that, she said, "That's not true. You just need I know what you need. You just need a mommy like me. Like, I'm mommy and daddy." She said that to me twice. She was essentially like disregarding like my preferences and trying to, I guess because she likes how I look or like wanted to have sex with me, that she wanted me to be submissive to her in the way that she wanted to, even though I'm not a submissive at all. She also told me that because she is a trans woman and a minority, that all cis women should be submissive to her because she's a trans minority regardless.
In order to acquire more information, Haley would say that she was playing it cool with Lexity and trying to gather more information from when she was drunk.
Found out what happened to me. I asked Anastasia about it, and I felt like she would only give me information if I phrased it in a way that was like, "Oh, I'm interested," or "Oh, tell me more because I like it." So that's what I did, and that's how I got the information out of her. I asked her what happened and like all of that, gathering information, collection. I've unfortunately had to do it before with another assault, rape type of thing.
Here's a screenshot of one of the text messages where Haley said, "Thanks for giving me the rundown. My memory don't remember. LOL drunkness." Lexity would say, "Yeah, I'm sorry I did anything. I honestly didn't think you were that drunk when stuff started. I was very unclear on what boundaries there were, let alone if I was crossing any." Yeah, I don't think getting drunk with a stranger with your intent of doing something inappropriate is ever a good idea. And of course, it happens all of the time. That's why people go to bars and clubs and stuff like that. But it's not a good idea because things can happen. And I'm not saying Haley is at any fault here. She was probably just going in it with the intent of, you know, just having fun, because some people are actually just trying to have fun and not have ill intent. But then there's always people out there that ruin it for those people.
I ended up finding out that Anastasia says that while I was blackout drunk, she sucked on my boobs, and I don't remember this happening at all. Kissing, making out, and she sucked on my boobs. She said that I did that to her as well. I just don't think that I would. It could be a lie.
In a turn of events, when Haley gathered all of the information that she needed, she blocked Lexity. And in turn, Lexity released a video saying that Haley SA'd her.
Marcy to me. Haley got drunk and then literally jumped me despite me trying to her. Haley
Lexity even went as far as releasing more screenshots from text messages. So you have Haley here trying to figure out what's going on, saying, yeah, I heard. Who kissed who? Lexity would say, you kissed me first, I believe. Definitely kissed you first later, though. You also asked me to suck on your boobs. So weird, I saw your message for like a second and it disappeared. I think you said me, lol. We made out like a bunch of different times. I started some of them. Did you in fact suck on my boobs? Yes, I did, lol. Also, it occurs to me now there's not really a charismatic way to say that. How long did all of this last? No sex, right? No sex, it was all night. Suck boobs all night? Did I touch your pee-pee? No, LMAO. We did that for like, I don't know, a couple of minutes or so. We did come back to it occasionally though. It's all good, thank you. You had fun. Tons. You are everything I ever wanted. Oh yeah? How so? Do tell. You are passionate and aggressive. You aren't scared of me. You have really cool hobbies and I really love that. I believe you when you praise me, and oddly, I don't know when you're mean. I understand you very easily and loved taking care of you and your emotions, and on top of that, you are phenomenally beautiful. You are everything I've ever wanted. I'd rather be happy and I'd rather have you in my life and make a big deal about it though. You are sweet. You're pretty cool yourself, you know. And then this weird exchange where Haley says, yes, not scared of you. I could def take you. But anyway, what I really want to know is, do you prefer jerking off inside your van more or outside of it? Sure, you could, love. I prefer jerking off in your mom's mouth. Sorry, that was too much. Lexity eventually deleted these posts, maybe because she thought they were going to get her in trouble. And before it was deleted, she was even justifying all of this in the comments, saying that they literally jumped on top of me. Drunk people can definitely say someone. Though they cannot consent, it is the job of the sober person to recognize that there is no excuse. You SA'd her. Maybe say sorry for what you did to your victims and take any ounce of accountability whatsoever instead of pitying yourself and blaming everyone else. Taking accountability for something I didn't do is difficult, actually. Don't you think it's strange there is only internet rumors surrounding me? What if I am actually not the terrible villain you've imagined? You were just so sure of things you didn't experience, aren't you? Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty, genuinely? Do you understand the history of false accusations and hate mobs against minorities? WTF did they even do? They were very pushy with my boundaries. They kept setting boundaries that they would cross despite me trying to stop them, which is deeply confusing. I would rather it just be a personal issue. They're accusing me of SA because they were very aggressive with me. They got drunk and low-key sexual me. Now they are blaming me. Admitting you're sober is admitting you assaulted Haley. Keep acting like this and watch everyone you hold on to leave you. Haley assaulted me. Just because you're drunk doesn't mean you get to do whatever. Lexity would also go on to make a TikTok saying that drunk people can consent to sex.
Hey, sweet pea. So you're not gonna like this take, but drunk people can absolutely consent to sex. I was an alcoholic for a long time. I was drunk every single day for like 3 years. I had a lot of sex during that time, and it wasn't all coercive. I knew what I was doing. And it is not up to other people to determine how drunk I am when they also might be intoxicated, and when I might be concealing how intoxicated I am. Yeah? You need to be very drunk for you to not be able to consent. Like, can't really walk or talk straight, right? Like, the kind of drunk where it is impossible for you to conceal how drunk you are. And at that point, yeah, you can't really consent to sex. But there is a large space in between sober and blackout drunk where you are very able to consent, and even likely to try to consent just because alcohol makes people horny. Yeah. Alcoholics can absolutely consent to sex.
But I'm curious what you think, so let me know in the comments down below. And for more context on that Reddit post, Haley would write, when Anastasia came to visit me, there was an instance where she blew up on me because I made a joke that went, hee hee, I stole your van. Meanwhile, I've been right next to her the whole entire night. So how could I have stolen your van? She then proceeds to scream at me. How dare you even joke that? You are such a small effing weak person. You are so effing small. What I said to you in your face is disgusting and your jaw is too big. I paused, said, why would you say that to me? I needed to make you feel as hurt as you made me feel with the van joke. This happened when she spent the night on January 25th. A few nights ago, before I blocked her, I was talking to her through video chat and IG for a few hours. She ended up asking me, have I ever pissed you off, Haley? I said, F yeah, you did actually. When you asked me if I was stonewalling you. When I took a pause after you verbally abused me, I was so upset with you and I was fantasizing in my head what it would be like to physically hurt you. I would never actually do it, but you did upset me to that degree. I've never stabbed anyone or even been in a physical altercation before in my 26 years of life. Give me an effing break. I never threatened to stab Anastasia point blank. Also forgot to mention after she said the you are so effing small and weak bit, she also said I can do anything I want to which I said, oh, and I can't? She said you can, but you won't. She then proceeded to tell me to run away with her in her van to start a corn career with her, as if that's anything I can do with my life. I did not even feel like making this information public, but I know she's talking about me and this is getting ridiculous. And before the situation was sorted reported out on March 4th, 2025, Lexity would announce that she was in a polyamorous relationship with a person named Sarah.
I've been planting trees and starting a garden because I have a partner. Like, I'm in a polyamorous relationship with a woman who I love very much, and she owns a house, so I live there. Yeah, I have a lease there even because I needed a proof of address in order to get a new ID. So
Sarah is in her 30s and has a child that lives with them in their home. People were concerned for this child and threatened to call CPS, to which Lexity saw this as transphobia.
Okay, so what's going on today is a group of people who are harassing me are threatening to have my girlfriend to call CPS on my girlfriend. Is what's happening today. Like, not that that's gonna like matter, because like you know, I'm fine, she's fine, the kid's fine, but you know, how you're threatening to call CPS because a trans woman is near a child, and you're claiming what? Anything other than transphobia is going to be dumb.
It also looks like Lexity finally adopted a dog.
This is Artemis.
Okay.
Yes, good girl. Sit. Yes, good girl.
Which is a little concerning considering how fast she gets angry and thinks that dogs can consent to drinking alcohol. People would say, someone save that dog. Hope you're not giving that dog alcohol. Artemis, run. On April 12th, she would post a video that seemed to be referencing the Marcy situation.
Hey, Sweet Pea. So I've experienced a lot of cis women who think that they get to experiment with me and it's not cheating and it's not sexual. It is sexual. And if you grab my butt or my boobs, me reciprocating, that's actually like, you know, kind of normal. That's a normal human interaction. If you don't want me to touch you, don't touch me. And if you touch me first, I don't have to ask, right? I mean, do I? Because like, you didn't ask.
On June 21st, 2025, Lexity would post a video of her getting engaged to her partner, Sarah. But the engagement would get called off and the video would be taken down. A transcript of the video would be put on Reddit saying, so apparently the engagement's off, so that's fun. Like I said, nowhere's ever safe. Also, if you'd like to know what I did, I said, please don't talk to me. And then she wouldn't stop yelling at me. She specifically told me that boundaries are something you said about what you do. And you don't get to set boundaries for what someone else does. And if you've been paying attention at all, you know this isn't the first time that Lexity has been sent packing. Lexity would also go live on Instagram to accuse her partner of being a narcissist.
You know, because she cannot communicate her needs. Ever. She doesn't like me being online? No, she doesn't like me being online, and she specifically doesn't like me doing this, which means talking about my life at all, because it involves her, and she's a narcissist. So anytime anything makes her feel bad about herself, she blames me entirely instead of accepting any responsibility.
And it's really interesting to hear Lexity talk about someone not accepting responsibility when it's literally her not accepting responsibility the whole time. However, that wasn't the worst that happened, because on August 7th of 2025, Lexity appeared online in a mugshot. She was arrested for assaulting a pregnant woman. For now, the story behind the assault is unclear, but it's also alleged that Lexity's pregnant victim bailed her out approximately 2 days later. Some Reddit users have said, I believe she was released on bail. From what I know, we don't have a definite answer for who posted bail. I've seen some speculation that it was the partner who was the victim of the assault, but I don't think that's been proven. 6 days later, she would go on Instagram Live.
It's okay. I never trusted people who trust cops, and I continue to not trust people who trust cops. Because that's, because ACAB. I thought ACAB was like, I don't know, like a thing.
And essentially that video is just her going live saying that there were no charges and not to trust cops and there never was a pregnant woman. At the end of the story, what stands out the most isn't what she just said, but what she has done. For someone that talks so much about apologies, she never seemed to give one. Not to her mom, not to Casey, not to Marcella, not to Marcy or Haley. Words mean nothing without the behavior to match them. With all that said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below of what you think about this situation. Bye, Sweet Pea.